Did you know that long before modern trade wars, Africa and Asia were locked in a silent economic battle that shaped global commerce forever in the roaring 1920s? As empires were recovering from the devastation of World War I, a quiet but intense conflict unfolded over resources, markets, and control. This wasn't a war fought with soldiers, but with prices, credit, and sheer determination. Europe, desperate to rebuild its shattered economies, turned its eyes to its colonies in Africa and Asia. These lands were treasure troves of raw materials: rubber from Malaya, cocoa from West Africa, silk from China, and spices from the East Indies. For decades, European companies had held a monopoly, buying cheap and selling dear. But a new force was emerging that would challenge their dominance from within: rising Asian merchants, particularly from India, Lebanon, and China, were expanding their businesses across Africa. They were agile, resourceful, and deeply connected to local communities. Unlike the rigid European firms, these traders offered better prices and flexible credit to African farmers, winning their loyalty and business. This wasn't just commerce. It was a fundamental shift in power. European colonial companies, used to having complete control, watched in fury as their profits and influence began to slip away. The response was swift and heavy-handed. Colonial governments, acting as the muscle for big European corporations, unleashed a barrage of economic weapons. They introduced restrictive trade licenses that were nearly impossible for non-Europeans to obtain. They slapped higher taxes specifically on Asian-owned businesses and created segregated markets, literally drawing lines to keep Asian traders out of profitable areas. The goal was clear: to systematically push them out and restore the old colonial order. But the Asian merchants didn't back down. Instead, they adapted. They proved to be masters of economic resistance. They moved deeper into rural Africa, establishing posts in villages far from the reach of colonial administrators. They built complex, resilient networks that bypassed colonial ports and regulations entirely. This wasn't just about survival. It was a defiant act of building an alternative economic system, one based on mutual benefit rather than colonial exploitation. African producers found themselves caught in this economic crossfire. They faced a tough choice. They could sell their crops to the big European firms for frustratingly low prices and under strict, often unfair rules, or they could partner with the Asian merchants, who offered better deals and more respect but were constantly hounded by the colonial authorities. Many chose the riskier but more profitable path. They formed secret alliances with the Asian traders, creating smuggling networks that moved goods right under the noses of the colonial police. By the late 1920s, the tension reached a boiling point in newspapers and government chambers. European companies loudly cried unfair competition, painting the Asian traders as a threat. Meanwhile, the Asian merchant communities organized, accusing the colonial governments of racist policies and economic oppression. This forgotten trade war of the 1920s was a critical turning point. It didn't break the colonial system overnight, but it severely weakened its economic foundations and planted the seeds for the powerful Africa-Asia partnerships we see today. The conflict never truly ended. It simply evolved, echoing in the global trade dynamics we live with now. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this hidden piece of history fascinating, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories that change the way you see the world.